What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another one. So today, as you can probably tell from the title of the video, I'm going to give you guys 3 good tips on how to get into duck hunting. These are just basic tips. They should be universal. I can't really think of a situation where they wouldn't be. But yeah, so whether you're hunting on a river, a pond, a marsh, whatever, these tips should be universal. So, I wanted to make this video just because I'm feeling a little bit of duck depression lately. It's about a month or two months after the season ended, and yeah, I'm just feeling it. So, I guess we'll get into this. Just one quick thing from my subscribers. As you can probably tell, I got myself a good camera, so everything's not on GoPro no more. So, if you're watching this and you're not a subscriber, that ought to give you a good reason to hit that subscribe button, because I'm getting serious. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the first tip. So, first thing I want to talk about is your decoy spread. So, if you have come across me, you're probably doing your own research, figuring out how to get into it, and what are some things you need to learn. So, you've probably come across the U. Your decoy spread needs to be look like a U, or a J, or a W. So, when ducks are flying, or when ducks are on the water anyway, they're not in a U or a J or a W. Now, before you get angry at me, I'm not saying that a J or a letter doesn't work. I use those personally. I'm just trying to clarify something. So, when you make a U, so we'll just go with that first. I got a piece of paper with me. So when you make a U, let's say that those are your decoys. So let's say your decoy spread looks like this. Now that's probably a dramatic version of it, but what it is, so these are your decoys. What this huge area is, and what you're creating with that U, is what we call a keel hole. So a keel hole, think of it like a landing strip at an airport. It's a place where you need to land. So that's what you're kind of creating. So ducks, they'll land wherever they want to land, but when you create a U or a J, and you're creating a keel hole, basically, you're telling them that the best place for them to land is right there. Right here, because there's a huge pocket. They're going to be surrounded by different ducks. It's going to be the most ideal place for them to land. That's what you're telling the ducks. So, like I said in a other video where I explained my decoy spread on a river, you are, let me get this straight, this is a kind of a tongue twister for me. You are getting the ducks to land where you want them to land without them knowing it. And that's something I love saying because it's just perfect. That's exactly what building a good decoy spread is all about. You're tricking the ducks into thinking that they want to land right here. That's where they want to land. But in reality, that's where you want them to land. So that's the U. Let me just draw up a J real quick so you guys know. Now, I want to make a more advanced version, like a part 2 kind of, where I go into different situations or different calling techniques, that sort of thing. But for right now, I'm just going to keep it to a beginner level video. So here's something I like to do in a J, and like I was saying, this is something I would probably throw into a more advanced. So as you can see, there's my J. There's the shoreline on a river. As you can see, it's funneling these ducks right in here. That's where I want them to land, right in here. So that's the J and the U. W, I don't see why it wouldn't work for ducks. I don't usually do that because that's more of a goose hunting strategy where you're getting them to more funnel into because you hunt in a bigger group when you're goose hunting. So in my opinion, W is more of a goose thing, but like I said, it would probably work if I had to guess. I've never used it, but it would probably work. Okay, so, and one other thing about a decoy spread. So when you're setting up your decoy spread, you always want the wind at your back. So the best way I can put this is, as far as birds go, ducks are heavy. So when they're landing, and if you see footage of them landing, they're going like this. They're going shh, and then right whenever they get right above the water, they start flapping the wings and they get like almost to a hover, and then they just set themselves down nice and easy. So when the wind is at your back, in other words, in the duck's face, they're able to ride that wind, and it helps them slow themselves down. So it's just giving them a little bit more confidence, and then also it's also kind of giving them more incentive to go into your keel hole. So let me just draw this up as an example. So if the wind is blowing that direction, the ducks are going to land like that. So if you're down here, if your blind is down here, the ducks are going to be landing going this way. But if, let me just draw on this one, but if the wind is at your back, like this, the ducks are going to see this keel hole. They're going to say, oh, and it just so happens that the wind is perfect for me to come in at a nice easy landing, coming right here into where you want them. So that's your decoy spread and how to set it up, adjusting to the wind. Next, I want to talk to you guys about blind location. So, I don't know if I mentioned this, but this one right here is actually a similar situation to a very successful hunt I had last year. I think I shot five birds out of that, and I was trying to film it, and I probably could have limited out much easier if I wasn't trying to film it. There was a few times where I had to pass up a shot because my camera wasn't on, and a duck was decoying, and it was like, come on GoPro, beep beep beep, and then that duck would just bust out of there, and then as soon as he left, my GoPro would turn on. So probably could have shot my limit. Anyway, I'm rambling. So I want to talk to you guys about your blind location. So in this particular spot, when I set my blind up like this, when I put my decoy spread like that, I put my blind right here, right where this X is. So the reason I put it there, and not down here anywhere, is because, and I'll put an example on my U. So I like to use J's on a river and U's on a pond generally. That's just I'll switch it up every now and then depending on the situation, but that's general. So we'll talk about the why you don't want your blind right here or where you're set up. So when the ducks are decoying, you don't want them looking right at where you're at, because sometimes you might lose them in the sunlight. You need to peek up above your hat or your beanie or whatever and see them, and then they might see that face or your eyes or your hand moving while you're calling. So I don't remember where I heard this quote from, but I love it. It's, the ducks aren't looking for everything to be right, they're looking for one thing to be wrong. So that is a beautiful quote. I wish I remember who said that, but the ducks aren't concerned whether your decoy spread is in a U or if your pintails are too close to your mallards. They're looking for your face. They're looking for a hand. They're looking for, when they fly over, they're listening for a call to be on the shoreline and not on the water. They're looking for things like that. So if you set your blind right here and they're decoying, they're looking right at you. So, and this was a hard thing for me to accept when I first heard this tip. But I'll tell you what, guys, as soon as I started putting my blinds off to the side, I had so much more success getting ducks to decoy, just because their focus was on my main body of decoys. Down here, I usually put my mojo in there. Their focus was right there, and I was off to the side. I was in their peripheral vision. So that's something that I definitely recommend when you're gonna set up your decoys. If you have a blind set up already, or if you maybe set your decoys up and then now you need to build a blind, it's something that you need to take into consideration. So, and one other thing before I move on, make sure that blind is well brushed in, and if you can, build yourself a makeshift roof. A lot of the duck hunting I do is on public land. I have to just kind of fabricate stuff out of branches and stuff that morning, just because I can't be building permanent blinds on public land. So yeah, so that's something. Just make sure that you have plenty of brush. The more brush, the better. That's going to cover up your movement, like I said, even better. So that's just something to take into consideration. So go on to tip number 3. So I'll grab my duck calls. So third one is going to be get yourself a duck call, but I'm going to explain what kind of duck call I would recommend that a new duck hunter gets. So, and I have the ring for it. I got this Duck Commander Jace Robertson Pro Series. So you don't have to get this call, but I'm going to tell you what features about it I think that are good for beginner duck hunters. Now, when I say that, I don't want you guys to think that this isn't a good permanent duck call. It has a permanent place on my lanyard. I've been duck hunting for plenty. I don't know. I'd probably, if I thought about it, probably 6 years, 6 to 8 years, I would guess, if I had to remember. But this was probably my 4th duck call I bought. I was just kind of spitballing. I was just, you know, ooh, that's a pretty colored duck call, or that's a cheap duck call. I can get that one. These Duck Commander Jace Robertson Pro Series, they're very reasonably priced. And what's nice about them is that they are a double reed. So when you guys are looking for a duck call, at the very minimum, I want you guys, if you're a beginner, to get a double reed. So they're a lot easier to control. They are, well, how do I put this? A single reed, there's 2 types basically. There's single reed and a double reed. A double reed is a lot easier to blow. It's a lot easier for you to mask your mistakes. Whereas a single reed is a little bit more advanced. It allows you to get some different notes, like a Cajun squeal or something. But double reed is a lot more simple. So if that cut looked a little weird, my camera shut off. I went to go do the edit, and it had shut off at 12 minutes. So getting back into it, hopefully I'm able to get back on track pretty well. This is, so it's also riveted. So let me give you guys an example. So if you're going out, let's say it's first light, you see some ducks, you call at them, and they come in, you shoot them. Then 15 minutes later, some other ducks come in, and you go to blow your call, and nothing happens. Well, what happened was, or it doesn't make any noise. What happened is that the spit that you threw whenever you called the first time got in between the reeds. It froze, and it wasn't allowing these reeds to separate whenever you're blowing through them. So what you need to do is take it out, separate them, wipe them dry. But the reason I'm telling you this is these ones are riveted. So if they're not riveted and you put them back in a different order than they're supposed to be, you're not going to get a great sound. Or it's not going to sound as great, or it might just sound like a coyote. But, so, like I said, these ones are riveted, so if you're a beginner, you don't have to worry about putting them back in the wrong order. But, this is a call that you're going to use for a long time. Now, I've had this call for a while. I pretty much learned really how to call on this call. So, I mean, I learned on other calls, but this one is where I really was able to take off. So I'll just give you guys some a soundbite of what it can sound like, even if you're a little bit more advanced. So this is not just a beginner call. This is something that you can have for a while. And like I said, I still have a ring for it on my lanyard. So I still use it. So, yeah, I would definitely recommend getting this. Also, put it in your vehicle so that you can practice going to and from work. So, like I said, I mentioned that on when I made the video on how to blow an elk bugle with the diaphragm reed. Put it in your vehicle. There's no one around you, so that you're not worried about, oh, this might not sound that great. I'm just gonna not practice. If you're in your vehicle, you're probably alone. You can get as loud as you want. You can sound as terrible as you want, and you'll be able to figure it out. You'll be able to really teach yourself how to blow a duck call. So, if you guys want a starting point with that, I'll go ahead and link the video up where I use this call. That was back on my GoPro, so the footage isn't as great as I'm hoping this new camera is going to turn out. But I think that's going to just... oh, one more thing before I go. So make sure that you get decent before duck season starts. So there's been a lot of times where I've been out on a public pond. There's other hunters around me, and I'm able to. So these guys, I'll hear them. It's not all the time, but every now and then, someone will set up right, a couple 100 yards away from me, and some ducks will fly over, and I'll hear them go like this. And those ducks just looked out and I'm like, what the hell is that? I've been a duck for 5 years. I've never heard another duck make that noise. And so I'm able to just, whenever I can tell that they're not committed, so that I'm not like stealing this guy's ducks, I can just hit them with this. I can just go, and then those ducks go, well, now that's a real duck, and they'll come over to me. So, like I said, practice, and then get to where you're confident in where you're calling, so that you're at least better than that guy over there. So that's going to do it for me today, guys. Like I said, hit that subscribe button so that when I put out my more advanced duck calling tip video, you guys will be up to date. I was wanting to do some shed hunting today with my new camera, but it was raining, so I decided to make this video instead. But go ahead and check out my Instagram. I should be, within the next few weeks, I should be able to get some pictures with this new camera and put it up on there. So be on the lookout for that. But until the next time, I'll see you guys later.